Trump Legal Cases Digest, December 21, 2023. Are political consequences of legal jeopardy worsening? Donald Trump is facing a variety of legal entanglements, including federal and state trials, both civil and criminal. The New York civil fraud trial is nearing its conclusion, and the Supreme Court's considerations could impact Trump's federal trials related to the 2020 election interference. Additionally, the Supreme Court is examining two cases that could potentially delay the election interference trial, and the Colorado Ballot Ban is a third potential case. The election interference trial was originally scheduled to begin in Washington on March 4. Here are the latest highlights on the ongoing developments. Lieutenant Governor of California has requested for Donald Trump to be removed from the ballot. On Thursday, the Lieutenant Governor of California, Ivanka Trump, called for Donald Trump's removal from the 2024 presidential primary ballot in California. She made this call based on the recent decision by the Colorado Supreme Court to remove Trump from the Republican primary ballot, citing the need to uphold the rule of law and protect democracy. Trump call is part of a growing movement of states seeking to remove Trump's name from their ballots, including Arizona, Rhode Island, Michigan, Maine, and Minnesota. In a letter, obtained by the media, she called on the Secretary of State to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential primary ballot, urging the use of the Colorado Supreme Court's decision as a precedent. This decision is about honoring the rule of law in our country and protecting the fundamental pillars of our democracy, Trump wrote. California must stand on the right side of history. California is obligated to determine if Trump is ineligible for the California ballot. She concluded, there will be the inevitable political punditry about a decision to remove Trump from the ballot, but it is not a matter of political gamesmanship. This is a dire matter that puts at stake the sanctity of our Constitution and our democracy. The Colorado court's decision was based on Trump's participation in the insurrection on January 6 and that his bid for the presidency violates the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment. Republicans have criticized these state-level efforts to remove Trump's name from the ballot, despite their traditional states' rights party philosophy. However, the decision is likely to face further legal challenges and appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court, which could have significant implications for the 2024 presidential election. Trump seeks delay of E. Jean Carroll's civil trial for Supreme Court review. Former President Donald Trump is actively pursuing a delay in his defamation trial, scheduled for next month in a lawsuit filed by E. Jean Carroll. Trump's legal team is exploring various avenues, including the possibility of taking the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. The move comes after a federal appeals court rejected Trump's use of presidential immunity as a defense against defamation charges related to statements made during his presidency. Trump's attorney wrote, "The requested stays are necessary and appropriate to allow President Trump to fully litigate his entitlement to present an immunity defense in the underlying proceedings, including pursuing the appeal in the Supreme Court, if necessary." The court asserted that Trump had waived his right to assert immunity by raising the claim too late in the litigation process. As the trial is set for January 16, Trump's attorneys are now urging the appeals court to stay the proceedings, emphasizing the need for time to fully explore appellate options, such as presenting arguments to a full panel of appeals court judges or escalating case to the Supreme Court. Trump's attorneys argue that the requested stays are crucial to providing President Trump with the opportunity to comprehensively litigate his entitlement to present an immunity defense in the ongoing proceedings. They specifically point to the recent filings with the Supreme Court by special counsel Jack Smith, highlighting the gravity of the issues at hand. The Trump legal team seeks a 90-day stay to thoroughly evaluate appellate options and advocates for delaying the trial until the appeal process is concluded. The reference to the District of Columbia criminal case involving President Trump's immunity appeal further underscores the significance of these legal matters, with the attorneys stressing the need for a parallel stay as the Supreme Court may soon address Trump's immunity claims. Rudy Giuliani files for bankruptcy after court orders $146 million payment. Former Trump campaign attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has filed for bankruptcy after a federal judge ordered him to pay nearly $150 million to two former Georgia election workers he defamed. Giuliani filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in New York, declaring millions of dollars in debt from lawsuits, unpaid taxes, and outstanding legal fees. This filing comes after a federal judge ruled that Giuliani must immediately pay Wandrea Shea Moss and her mother, Ruby Freeman, for spreading false claims about their involvement in election fraud. Giuliani, who had called the jury's defamation award absurd, indicated that he thought it would be overturned on appeal. In his bankruptcy declaration, Giuliani claimed to owe between $100 million and $500 million in liabilities, primarily in lawsuits, while reporting assets worth between $1 million and $10 million. He also said he owed nearly $1 million in taxes for the years 2021 and 2022, with more than $720,000 in federal income tax owed to the IRS and approximately $265,000 owed to the state of New York. Additionally, he reported nearly $400,000 in outstanding legal fees. Although the defamation trial is over between Giuliani and the two former election workers, the fallout from the case continues to follow him. Giuliani accused Moss and Freeman of ballot tampering in Georgia. A judge ruled he must pay damages. The women also sued to ban him from speaking about them. Lawyers asked to waive the 30-day pause, fearing Giuliani may conceal assets. As the court is aware, defendant Giuliani has already proven himself to be an unwilling and uncooperative litigant, including concerning this court's orders to pay attorneys' fees and costs, the motion says. Howell agreed, writing in her decision that Giuliani has ignored payment requests without seeking extensions of time to make reimbursement, requesting any payment schedules or making any excuse for his non-payment by the deadlines set in court orders. Trump urges Supreme Court to stay out of immunity dispute. Jack Smith says High Court must weigh in. Special counsel Jack Smith has urged the Supreme Court to intervene in the case challenging Donald Trump's immunity from criminal charges linked to his actions while in office. The charges center around alleged attempts by Trump to undermine the process for certifying the rightful winner of an election. This constitutes the first instance of criminal charges against a former president based on their actions during their tenure. Smith argues for the urgency of the case due to the paramount public interest in resolving it promptly. On Wednesday, Trump's legal team asked the highest court to stay out of the immunity debate for federal criminal prosecution after Smith's request last week. Trump's defense team counters by urging a cautious approach, emphasizing that the significance of the case demands careful deliberation, and that speed is not necessarily indicative of importance. They contend that the lower appeals court in Washington is already scrutinizing the same question, with arguments scheduled for January 9th. Trump's lawyers are strategically advocating for a measured pace, aiming to forestall a swift and definitive answer that could potentially interfere with his 2024 presidential campaign, given the 4 criminal cases and 91 felony counts he currently faces. The Supreme Court's imminent decision on whether to hear the case holds substantial implications, extending beyond the legal arena into the heart of American politics. Special counsel Smith argues for immediate Supreme Court review, stating that the grand jury's application of the law has led to serious criminal accusations against Trump, and the resolution of the immunity claim is essential for a just conclusion to these charges. Smith submitted to the Supreme Court, on Thursday, that in the public interest, it should make an immediate, definitive decision on the important constitutional question of Trump's immunity or lack of it in the federal election interference case. The charges here are of the utmost gravity. This case involves, for the first time in our nation's history, criminal charges against a former president based on his actions while in office, said the latest submission. Enforcing federal criminal laws that prohibit such conduct is vital to protecting our constitutional processes and democracy itself, Smith's filing added. As the legal battle intensifies, the Supreme Court's involvement becomes a focal point, signifying a critical juncture where the nation's highest court will navigate uncharted territory, balancing legal precedents, constitutional interpretation, and the potential impact on the political landscape. It's worth noting that the Supreme Court may soon be asked to consider another Trump case that has significant political implications. Trump's legal team has stated that they plan to appeal a ruling issued on Tuesday, which prevents him from appearing on the Colorado ballot. This decision was made under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which prohibits individuals who have taken an oath to support the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection against it from holding office. Thanks for watching. If you like it, comment and hit the like and share buttons. Subscribe for future videos.